Hey everyone, welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking another look at Blackberry stock. So, since the last time we spoke about Blackberry, the stock has trended downwards, but let's take a deeper look. So we could see that we had this moment in the summer, and really in July, where we had this glimmer of hope where we were making higher highs and higher lows, and it all culminated in this moment in August where it failed to really break out around the $7 level, which was a resistance level we had discussed, and it's just been trending downward ever since. And, take it with a grain of salt. The whole market obviously has been extremely volatile and has been trending downward since that summer rally. But now, I think the real question becomes, do we find support over here at this $4 level, or are we going to keep on trending downward? Now, to think about this, let's take a look and think about what's happened with Blackberry. So they did release their earnings last week, and their earnings were a bit of a mixed bag, I would say, because on the one hand, their IoT revenue, that's their QNX software, which we've discussed many times. That's what they're embedding in a lot of their vehicles with a lot of their partners in the automotive industry. That's been crushing it, which is fantastic. But, their cybersecurity revenue has declined by 8% to 111 million. That's not really good to see, especially considering BlackBerry was coming out as this new giant player in the cybersecurity space, and their revenue is declining. That's not a great sign, although, of course, companies might not be spending as much right now to revamp their cybersecurity and whatnot, given the economic conditions. So there could be various factors for that, but no matter what they are, we want to see growth in the cybersecurity space. But let's keep delving a little deeper. So total revenue came in at 168 million, with gross margins coming in at 63%. That's cool. 63% margins are a great thing to see. And what else happened with the company? So, this is interesting. Management has guided that their IoT revenue, which again is that QNX software, will come in at around 200 to 210 million for 2023. That would be awesome. That would be really pushing them towards profitability if they could get there. And, QNX is embedded in 7 out of the 10 largest OEMs in China. That's good. Although I would say I wouldn't be too optimistic about such dependency on China because of everything that's going on politically. Who knows what's going to happen with Taiwan or how that anything with China might impact kind of trade or business relationships. But hey, it's great to see that they're expanding there and have really, found a base of support over there in terms of their customer clientele. And this was so interesting to me that now BlackBerry is hopeful that IoT will become the backbone of their revenue in the future, which it's just such a different place from where the company was like a year or two ago in terms of how IoT has just been completely taking over and their cybersecurity business has not been taking over, but IoT is hopefully now picking up the slack. So picking up the slack so much, in fact, that the company's, the percentage of revenue, the company's gross margins are likely to head around 70%. That's what it's saying, right? Which would push the company towards profitability. If BlackBerry could get to a place where it's just not losing a ton of money, where it actually becomes profitable again, that might be a moment where you see real reacceleration in the stock price. And it's happened many times before with many stocks where, the stock was unprofitable, and then when they hit that moment where they're finally profitable, the stock could potentially take off. Now, who knows if that will happen and if they will even be able to obtain that profitability metric, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And as they're saying, that may happen hopefully within fiscal year 2023. So, I mean, we're already in the fourth quarter of 2022, so sometime within the next year, they should hopefully be able to hit this benchmark. Now, what else is happening with BlackBerry? I mean, yeah, they are still losing money. So, their investors are worried, of course. Their operating cash flow is coming in at negative $23 million. Not a great number to see. But the company also has $432 million in cash. That's pretty good. So they definitely have a boatload of cash sitting around that will get them through the hard times, especially until 2023, when hopefully either the economy starts turning around, or at least they'll just continue to see their growth in their QNX division, which will help them through the hard times. See, this is interesting. Their revenue is expected to increase by around 15 to 20%, 15 to 20% in 2023, which would be great. That should hopefully bring them back into that profitability as we were discussing. And, QNX will probably be the driving force behind that. So, I mean, this is kind of where we stand with BlackBerry. They're still kind of struggling to find their footing. I mean, that loss on the cybersecurity really is a bit disappointing, I have to say, as someone that's been following the company, because, the fact that their QNX has been taking off is great, but we want to see that cybersecurity business grow, even if it wasn't growing by a ton. We don't want to see it decline by 8%. So, keep that in mind, but also keep in mind, too, what's going to impact their success with their QNX software? I mean, they have a bunch of partnerships with these different car manufacturers, both in the US and in China, very much so, and other places. But, are people going to be buying cars in the next year? They're not buying them today, given the current financial situation. Is next year going to be different? Maybe, maybe not. But, although the report is mixed, I'm a bit hopeful with BlackBerry, just in the sense that I feel like they are hopefully finding their footing now in terms of okay, if cybersecurity is not providing all the revenues that they anticipated, at least they're able to find those revenues and expand another division of their business. And we'll have to see if that continues. This whole past year has just been a bit of a step-by-step process where at one point, John Chen, their CEO, was talking about how, our products are great, we just need more sales forces, more of a sales force. So they're hiring all these salespeople. At one point, it looked like, their patents with Facebook were going to get bought, and then they were falling apart. And they've had all these things going on where they've kind of been trying to find their footing, and it looks like they haven't quite gotten there yet, but the future looks maybe a little clearer in the sense that we know what's going to happen in terms of if they're able to execute their model. Their cybersecurity will hopefully grow, not decline. But regardless of what happens in terms of that growth, their QNX software is going to be the engine that drives the company further, is what it looks like to me. But let me know what you think in the comments section. Do you think that BlackBerry is a buy now around the $4 level? Are you holding on to any shares? Are you going to sell your shares? I'm curious to hear what the other viewers are doing with their shares, and I'll catch you in the next one.